Hi, I'm Kevin Knaus with InsureMeKevin.com. I get a lot of questions from people wondering if they have to repay Medi-Cal. And this stems partly because of two particular reasons. First, if they were over 55 years old and may have been subject to the Estate Recovery Act. And also for some people, if they forgot to report an income change to Medi-Cal. So Medi-Cal is California's version of Medicaid. It is partially federally funded. And in 2014, when the Affordable Care Act came online, California decided to expand Medi-Cal enrollment eligibility by allowing people with incomes under 138% of the federal poverty line for adults be enrolled in Medi-Cal with no other conditions other than their monthly income. It didn't make a difference how many cars you owned, how many homes, your assets, bank accounts. That didn't make a difference. It was all based on your income. So for people who were over 55, they were just applying for Covered California and they were put into Medi-Cal. And then they started getting information about the Estate Recovery Alert. And the Estate Recovery Action is that if someone dies who has been in Medi-Cal, then Medi-Cal can recover what they have paid on behalf of that person for insurance, hospitalization, skilled nursing, prescription drugs. And that scared a lot of people because it meant that just by them getting health insurance, being 55 years old, up to before they became eligible for Medicare, that the state would come after their assets and they wouldn't be able to leave anything for their children. So that was changed in 2016 with the passage of SB 833. And that changed the Estate Recovery Act so that it no longer applied to just the Magi Medi-Cal insurance premiums. And those capitation monthly amounts could be anywhere from $400 to $500 per month. So it would add up if someone was in Medi-Cal for a long time. So that has been changed and people no longer really have to worry about, if you're older, being in Medi-Cal and then having the state come after your assets to fulfill that. Now, the other problem, though, is for many people, when you got into Medi-Cal, this was the first time many individuals and families dealt with a large state bureaucracy on a regular basis. Because DMV, you only do it when you have to renew your license, you pay your taxes once a year, and you're just kind of sending them information. Medi-Cal requests that you report changes to anything in your household within 10 days. And people would be on Medi-Cal, they would get jobs, their income would go up, maybe they got employer-sponsored health insurance, and it's like, oh, I forgot, I need to report this. I'm still on Medi-Cal. So that was a big shock, and they have to go through, and they're very worried that I have to repay this because technically they didn't think they had been eligible for Medi-Cal because their income had gone up. And maybe they weren't, maybe they were. But what we need to keep in mind is that you need to report changes to Medi-Cal, not Covered California. Even if you went through Covered California to become eligible for Medi-Cal, everything needs to go back to your county social services office and report income changes, changes of address, household size, email address. Everything needs to be reported to them, and then they make an eligibility determination. So my guidance is, when in doubt, report. Now, I can't say that they're not going to come after you. I'm not Medi-Cal. However, for the hundreds of people that I have dealt with, potentially thousands, who have reported their incomes in a belated fashion, not one has come back and told me that Medi-Cal has asked them to repay anything. Not one. And in talking with some of the Medi-Cal folks, the case eligibility workers, they say most of the folks that have incomes that are now above the limits, or they have employer-sponsored health insurance, that gets caught when they do the annual redetermination process. So at the end of the year, whenever you enrolled in Medi-Cal originally, maybe it was June, then the following June, you have all that paperwork that you have to put in. And that's when they say, oh, you're no longer eligible for Medi-Cal. Now, I will say, don't assume just because your income has gone up that you're ineligible for Medi-Cal. A big question comes up, well, I got a one-time lump sum distribution, someone left me some money. That's a one-time lump sum distribution and doesn't necessarily count towards your monthly income. Just because you got an hourly wage or maybe your hours went up, don't assume you're not eligible. Just report it. Let Medi-Cal make the determination. And even if your income went up many, many months ago, that still doesn't mean you weren't eligible for Medi-Cal. Just report the change and let them take care of it. The people at Medi-Cal, they don't want to kick people off. There are stories of people trying desperately to get off Medi-Cal, and it can be very frustrating because you have to verify this and prove that. And the mantra at Medi-Cal is do no harm. So they do not want people to be without Medi-Cal, without health insurance coverage because of something they did in error. Therefore, they make it a little bit difficult to just have your Medi-Cal terminated. So my big guidance to people is if your situation has changed, you report it. If you have employer-sponsored health insurance, report it. If your income goes up, report it. Just report it. And so far, there has been no issues. Now, fraud is a different situation, but if you're reporting it, that means you do not have any intent to deceive. You're just being an honest person. You made an honest mistake. So hopefully that allows you to sleep a little bit easier at night if you were being kept awake at night that, I forgot to report my income change. It's going to be okay. It truly is. For Insure Me Kevin, I'm Kevin Canals. Have a wonderful day.